It was a warm summer night, and my friends and I decided to go for a late night walk in the woods. We had been walking for about an hour when we stumbled upon an old abandoned house. It was a big, old Victorian-style house, and it looked like it hadn't been lived in for years. Being the adventurous types, we decided to explore the house. The front door was locked, so we had to find another way in. We finally found an unlocked window on the side of the house and climbed in. The inside of the house was dark and musty. There were cobwebs everywhere, and the furniture was covered in dust. As we walked around, we started to hear strange noises. At first, we thought it was just the old house settling, but the noises became louder and more frequent. We started to feel uneasy and decided it was time to leave. As we made our way towards the front door, we heard a loud banging noise. We turned around and saw a figure standing at the end of the hallway. It was a man, and he was holding a knife. We froze, not knowing what to do. The man started walking towards us, and we started backing away. We finally reached the front door and managed to unlock it. We ran out of the house as fast as we could. We didn't stop running until we were back at our own houses. We were all shaking and couldn't believe what had just happened. The next day, we reported what had happened to the police, but they didn't find anyone in the house. To this day, I still don't know who that man was or why he was in that old abandoned house. But one thing is for sure, I will never forget that terrifying experience. The Jones family had just moved into their new home, a beautiful old Victorian with plenty of character. But as soon as they moved in, they began to experience strange occurrences. At first, it was small things. A door that wouldn't stay shut, a lamp that flickered on and off. But as the days went on, the occurrences grew more and more frequent and more sinister. One night, Sarah Jones woke up to find a figure standing at the foot of her bed. It was a woman in a white dress, with long hair and a sad expression on her face. Sarah tried to scream, but no sound came out. The figure beckoned to her, and Sarah felt compelled to follow. She followed the figure through the house, down the stairs, and into the basement. The figure disappeared into the shadows, leaving Sarah alone in the darkness. As Sarah turned to leave, she saw a strange symbol etched into the wall. It looked like an inverted pentagram, and it sent shivers down her spine. The next day, Sarah tried to tell her husband and children what had happened, but they didn't believe her. They thought it was just a nightmare, a figment of her imagination. But these strange occurrences continued, and soon the rest of the family began to see the figure too. They saw her in the hallway, in the attic, and even in the garden. And each time, the figure would beckon to them, leading them deeper into the house. They tried to leave the house, but they found that they couldn't. Every time they got close to the front door, they would be drawn back inside by some invisible force. Finally, they realized that they were trapped in the house, that it was some kind of malevolent entity that was holding them captive. They began to research the history of the house, and they discovered that it had been built on the site of an old asylum. It was said that the asylum had been a place of unspeakable horrors and that the spirits of the patients still haunted the grounds. The Jones family realized that they had unwittingly bought a haunted house and that they were in grave danger. They tried everything they could to get rid of the entity: exorcism, blessings, even calling in paranormal investigators. But nothing worked. The entity seemed to grow stronger with each passing day, feeding off their fear and despair. Finally, they realized that their only hope was to confront the entity head-on. They gathered together in the basement, where they had first seen the figure, and they prepared for the worst. The entity appeared before them, more powerful and terrifying than ever. But this time, the family stood their ground. They refused to be cowed by the entity's malevolent presence, and they fought back with all their strength. In the end, they were victorious. The entity dissipated into the ether, leaving the Jones family free at last. But they never forgot the horrors they had experienced in that haunted house, and they made a vow to never let anyone else fall victim to its malevolent influence.